We're headed down a dirt road in Genesee County on an adventure to check out a house that some say is haunted.
Tall, thin man, black suit with the top hat on, looks kind of like Abraham Lincoln. And he's not a nice man. There used to be a woman that would walk around like this and just cry. Just out of her mind. What are you? Why are you here? And he said, I am what you would call a demon. I actually contacted an exorcist about that because I wanted that particular spirit gone.
Yeah.
It tries to get people to commit suicide and do stupid things that they have no memory to do. And the spirit says that there's 11 people being collected. That doll, her eyes and head will move to follow me. It was like such a bad negative vibe. Like, get out of here, you're not welcome here.
Upstate New York can be a mystical place, with its dark caves and twisting rivers. Some believe that evil spirits wandered this land for centuries, lurking in the shadows, waiting to take another soul. No, it's not Amityville or the Conjuring House, but this might be the most haunted house in the state of New York. The Bergen House was built in 1858 and has an impressive collection of history and haunts. It's located next to the Bergen Swamp, which is over 10,000 years old, and some believe witches visited the swamp to hold ceremonies and rituals in days gone by. Whether witches worked on the land or not, there is something strange happening on the Bergen House's property. From orphans and runaway slaves, to Bigfoot and a young woman committing suicide in the barn, there are stories all throughout the property, not just inside the house, which is pretty active on its own. According to the current owner, Kathy Hegland, there are very different types of spirits haunting the Bergen House, described as day shift and night shift. During the day, the ghosts seem curious and playful, but after the sun sets, things get a bit darker.
Apparitions walk through a room that they're sitting in. They've been touched, they've been poked, they've been scratched. They've heard voices. When I was like 12, I had two older cousins come here, both boys, and we were told to go out and play. So I'm 12, they're like 16, what do you do? We started playing hide and seek, and I ran in here and shut the door, and I was peeking through the wood in the door to see where my cousins were, and I heard stuff in the straw. So I turned and looked, and I actually saw Robert. He was like on the floor. He had his knees bent like he was sitting up, and he had a rope around his neck. One hand here and one hand out like this to me, like I was going to help him up. And he said, "I'm Robert." We used to avoid this barn like crazy. It was like such a bad negative vibe. Like, get out of here, you're not welcome here. But there is a nasty old man on the other side. We had a public tour here. I think I had three couples within the first 15 minutes leave. Because big boards in the back of the barn were being thrown at the group, and you could hear boots on the metal roof.
How old is this barn?
This barn was built in 1888. And the house was 1858, pre-Civil War. But with the woman that hung herself, the historian told us it was between 1845 and 1850 she hung herself. And she always shows herself on this one, like, telephone pole in the barn. That's where she hung herself. So I'm wondering if there was another structure here or a tree or something that she hung herself on, because when she committed suicide, this barn wasn't here yet. There's like a 30, 40-year difference. You look at little kids up there. A lot of people have taken pictures of that loft and got like a little boy and a little girl playing jacks. A lot of children's spirits on this property. A lot of Native Americans, a few slaves. Because we had the Underground Railroad come through. It's actually in a historical book from our historian that they used to chase the slaves across the marl bed from the old railroad tracks up here into the backyard and kill them. Torture them and kill them. Several psychics that have been here said that there was someone here that used to traffic children. Possibly a serial killer that was a woman. But this is where the lady shows herself hanging. And I mean, it's consistent. Several people have seen her there. So we just call her Catherine. We don't really know what her real name is. She tried telling me her name was Mary something Hyde. And at the time, I'm like, no. That was the name of the boat that the German man came over on. Don't fib to me. If you don't want to tell me your name, that's cool. You know? I've heard music boxes out here. We've had voices out here. Part of a woman's body. And this is what you saw in the show. She's not here anymore. It wasn't a skull or anything, but it was big tufts of hair. She was a redhead, and you could see she had silver in her hair, like middle-aged. It was still curled. And a piece of white fabric looked like the front of a shirt that had buttons, but the buttons were taken off. But it was weird, like it was ripped, like somebody walked up and just ripped it off. And I remember there was a big gold locket, had initials on it, and when you opened it up, 2 pictures inside. And I recognized those 2 people in that locket from people I had seen in the house when I was little. There was buttons, handmade buttons with little blue roses painted on them. There was the locket. There was like maybe 7 or 8 vertebrae from like a spine, and then the hair. It was not uncommon for people to bury their loved ones on their property back in those days. So we don't know if it was like a shallow grave maybe, animals and erosion, and it just happened to show up here, or if she was murdered. I found an old newspaper article. Funny thing, we used to call her Helen, and come to find out the person we think this is, her name was Helen. I found an old newspaper article where her son-in-law supposedly put her in a buckboard wagon and took her to the train station so she could catch a train to go home because she lived out of state. So if that happened, how did she end up dead in my backyard? Now back here also, we had our spirit boxes. And the spirits say that there's 11 people buried back here. So I didn't know if maybe it was the slaves that they killed. They just buried them back here. I could not find a record of anybody that actually owned this property, owning slaves. But I know if a farmer had slaves and another farmer needed help, they would bring them. These cupboards have flown open. I used to keep all my plastics in this cupboard. Now remember when I told you guys earlier there's some spirits here that don't like it when you disrespect them and say they don't exist? My friend Jim was here, and he was helping us clean up the house. We hadn't moved back in yet, and he was sitting out there where the table is now, and he said something about not believing in spirits. And this cupboard opened. There was 5 of us here. We all witnessed it. This cupboard opened, and every plastic dish that was in there at the same time went flying towards that window there. And if they hadn't had the curtain on the shelf there, it would have hit him sitting on the other side.
That's
it aimed
crazy.
it at him. This used to be the kitchen window outside the house.
Oh yeah,
I built this room.
Yeah.
You notice that this wall is thicker than a normal wall?
Wow, I just felt something heavy.
Did you get touched?
No, I felt like a presence almost.
Yeah.
Is there someone in here?
There is.
Oh,
He's
wow.
standing over there. And on that wall there, in the hallway, I saw shadows. And being little, I didn't understand what they were, but they intrigued me. And I would see like bursts of light, like sunshine in there, different places. So after lunch, she made me a bottle and took me into my room, the one that had the blue curtain on it. And she put me in my bed. And I can remember, I was still thinking about those shadows and I wanted to see them. So I was so little I couldn't stand up without holding on to something. So I remember holding on to the side of my crib. And as I got up to look into the hallway to see if the shadows were still there, that's when 3 spirits walked into my room. But I didn't know they were spirits at the time. It was 2 men and a woman. One was a shorter man, kind of chubby. The other one was very tall, very thin, and then a petite woman. And they stood around my bed, and the men were arguing. They were fighting. And I come to realize, being older now, that the one that was angry intended to do me harm that day. I don't know if I was supposed to have had a crib death or something, but he was going to take me out. And the other one stopped it. And they were dressed like 1930s, 1940s type clothes. I mean, I could hear my mom out here doing the dishes, the water running in the sink and stuff. And I remember thinking, why is my mom not in here? You know, I don't know these people. Why is she in here? Why is she not in here? And after a couple of minutes, they just left and walked out, and I never saw those spirits again. That's the only time I saw those spirits, particular spirits.
So do you ever have experiences with like the woman that died in the shed?
Yeah. There are times that I will just become so sad and depressed, I will just cry and cry and cry, and I won't know why I'm crying. I mean, like sobbing, heartbroken sobbing, but it's her. When she comes too close to you, that's what happens. She actually did that to another one of the women that were here for seance. And Janet, the medium that was here, one of the mediums, had to tell the spirit, you need to step away from this lady because she can't breathe, she's crying so hard. Very sad.
I still can't believe like those TV shows didn't pay you.
No, they don't. Well, Travel Channel paid me $100 one time, but that was after 2 days of filming.
So was it actually a guy with a top hat?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, there's a tall, thin man, black suit, with the top hat on, looks kind of like Abraham Lincoln. And he's not a nice man. There used to be a woman that would walk around like this and just cry, just out of her mind, and come to find out that he had to go away for business or something, and she had postpartum real bad, and while he was gone, she had killed their baby. And when he got back, I guess he did bad things to her for killing the baby. Occasionally, we'll see a carriage with no top on it, a gray horse and a brown horse, a man and a woman in it. They'll show up around the well, and you'll hear the tires, the wooden tires in the gravel. You'll hear the horses walking, and it'll come up and it'll go around like it's going to go towards the field, and it'll just fade away as it goes around that little bit of a curve. We see a woman walking up the driveway. We think the lady that we see walking up the driveway might be the same lady that hung herself in the barn. We're not sure if she lived here or if the justice of the peace that she had the affair with lived here. Because she was half his age. She was married and had children. And when he found out she was pregnant, he broke off the relationship, and she just became very despondent because, you know, her life was over basically at that point. Young, unmarried in those times with a baby, you know, so she committed suicide. Very sad. That is documented with our historian. Will the man standing in the doorway step forward and speak to us, please? Hello. Can we have your name, please?
It knows who you are, right?
Probably. Oh, you gotta stay on the board. Can you spell your whole name for us, please? Do you hear that? That little tap behind us? Tell one of these guys their middle name or their birthday or something. We've had that happen.
Really?
Somebody who didn't believe. He goes, what's my middle name? Told him his middle name, gave him his birthday, and told him his father's name.
Oh.
You have to stay on the board. Yes. Who are we speaking to tonight?
Q.
I think so, yeah. Q. What is your name? It keeps going down here.
I wonder why. Is that like a...
It doesn't want to, like, communicate.
That's why I asked if it was a child, because maybe a kid didn't know how to spell, but was just moving it. But then it said it wasn't a child. I just felt something touch my hair. That doll's head was moving.
Is there someone like right there?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, there is, and I got chills.
Is there someone in this room with us? Is there a spirit in this room with us?
Was that your tummy?
No, that wasn't me.
Was that a growl?
I thought it was someone's stomach.
I thought it was one of you guys' tummy.
I didn't even hear it.
That was a growl.
What is that?
B?
QUB? Or no? Like, should we...
QUB. Is there something negative in the house tonight, and that's why you can't speak? Well, that moved pretty damn quick. No. How old were you when you passed?
Does that mean he's a demon?
Are you a demon? That's why he didn't say man, woman, or child.
Oh, that happened at the Hinsdale house, too.
Yeah. But
Went to 0.
Yeah, it goes to 0 like it was never born.
Yeah, always been. Is this Robert? Is this Moloch?
Who's that?
It's Moloch. It's one of the demons here.
That's crazy.
Will you allow the other spirits to come through and communicate with us tonight?
I just heard something.
Do you want us to go into the blue room and do this? No. Moloch is the one that takes credit for making people suicidal. They've got EVPs in there.
Really?
Why don't you just go kill yourself? Why don't you just kill yourself? You're worthless.
That's scary stuff.
He's a bad dude.
Has anybody that came here been like scratched, right?
Yeah.
Really?
Tim Shaw's been scratched. I've had a few other people scratched. I had a kid scratched here.
No. crazy.
The children in the house have played with my grandchildren. Wow. Rolling balls and trucks and things.
Yeah. That's...
When my grandkids were little, I'd hear them talking and playing and thought they were playing with each other, and I'd find one off by himself playing, talking to whoever. Nobody wants to talk tonight? You just want to stand around just watching? I feel like there's someone right by my shoulder here.
I know, I was just looking over.
You do too on the side?
Yeah, there's something there.
Yeah, I feel it too. Like he's just standing here at the table watching us. I say he because it feels strong, like a guy.
Yeah, it does feel like something's towering right there.
Yeah, my leg is cold. Alright, if you're going to stand here, please talk to us.
Wow.
I keep losing it. Maybe I should try too far.
That like flew on that.
If we let go of this, can you make this move by the planchette move by itself? Of course not. Will you answer their questions? Okay. Okay, be still. Cross. Are you ready to speak, cross? Can you show me yes? Can you show me no? This thing behind me just moved that I'm leaning against. What was your name? Austin. Can you point both rods at Austin?
That's crazy.
And what was your name?
Nick.
Can you point both rods at Nick, please? Okay. Oh, it wants to talk. It crossed. Ask it a question.
Are you standing behind me right now?
Right
Yeah, that's what I thought. I kept looking there.
Oh, it's trying to do the circle thing I asked it to do.
Holy shit.
Here, go ahead, go one. Make it go really fast. One direction only. I'm trying to hold my arm still. Alright. Cross when you're ready to speak.
How many spirits are in the blue room with us right now? I heard 8.
Yeah. I know something's going on because I have pain in my ribs really bad.
How many spirits are watching us right now? Heard something there.
Feel like trouble?
Yeah, it was a deep male voice.